Alright, response video 2bsirius. She has 2 questions in her video. Says she has a big pile of research demonstrating this and that, and scientists believe, and blah blah blah. And the internet's covered with crap all over the place. I mean, you go look up anything about babies and you'll find 10 million pages full of shit. So yeah, until I do my research and find some work done by neurologists, I mean actually people who understand how brains function, yeah, we'll just go with the talking out of your ass part. So you want an explanation for why I don't think babies feel anywhere near what we experience consciously. Alright, so first I'd argue that, yeah, okay, back in 1980, whatever, I read a book on neurology and psychology, and it explained the hypothalamus and different things and how they're not connected. I mean, that's through this embryo growth phase, and it just isn't there. And then the whole birthing process and how the brain is smushed, and you know, yeah. So my theory of mind is that feelings are only productive if an organism can react to them in some kind of you know, learned behavior kind of way. Reflexive reactions to a feeling are kind of useless because a reflex is a reflex, so you don't need a feeling for a reflex to just react to. There's no real point in having a feeling to react to in some automatic way, autonomic, okay, reflexively. So you don't need a feeling. So it's like we don't need to feel something when somebody whaps you with a hammer on your knee and makes your knee bounce up. You don't need to feel anything to do that. So it becomes completely useless. And so I would argue that the real point of feeling, sentience, what makes it powerful and what makes our awareness so intense, our sensation, is the fact that our intellect is using it. It is reacting to the internal world, not the external world. It's reacting to that feeling world in very complex ways, and not in simple knee-jerk ways. So a baby, the most dysfunctional thing on earth just about is a newborn human baby, and I think it has something to do with how we acquired this brain capable of this self-awareness, capable of doing this learning thing in a really substantially bigger and better way, is that our brain doesn't waste resources. So it takes 3 years for it to wire our brain to start functioning as a conscious instrument where we can go into the world and start learning for ourselves. And so for those first few months, many months, we're basically a reflexive organism. And I would argue that what children feel is substantially just emotional. Most of their reactions are emotional. Most of them are geared towards creating responses in adults, and not so much how they interact with their environment. And so whatever they feel is it's very different. And we can sort of see it in our own experience, and you know, most people are going to concede that they don't have strong memories or many memories of very young, very early childhood, and that their consciousness sort of arose, whatever, to 2 or 3 or 4 years old is when they started becoming more and more of a real human being with real memories and a real capacity to react and to value things, to start identifying things in their world in a rational way. And I think from our own experience we also realize that a lot of our reactions in those very early years were hysterical, were emotional reactions. We weren't reacting to a real feeling. We were reacting to an emotional crisis, and so it's very, very different kind of consciousness. So I just say, even if we just went through our own based on our own experience, we can see that our consciousness did not. It did change dramatically through those early years, and there was an obvious difference. And having this capacity to put a context around the world and be able to interact in it like other organisms. I mean, when they're born, they have to be able to run. They have to be able to deal with their environment. They're active in their environment. They're not protected by a mother. Goddamn fucking phone. Alright, back. Let's get on to where we were here. Yeah, but anyway, so there's lots of ways to look at this brain function thing and where we came from, and we can see it. We can see it in an Alzheimer's patient. They start losing sensation. They start losing connectivity to the real world. And it's basically a lot like they turn into babies again. And so we can, it's reasonable speculation to say that's probably that state of dementia where you're a little bit, cut your arm off, you're really not going to know it sometimes, is probably heading, towards what we are when we start off. Because our hypothalamus, we have nothing connected. There's no file cabinets in the brain. That all this stuff hasn't been connected yet. Because it can't do anything functional. There's nothing functional for feelings to do in a newborn. Because all it's got is reflexes. It can't do anything elaborate. So it really wouldn't serve much of a purpose to have it in much pain. I mean, real pain, hard pain. Alright, so, and what else is there? Oh yeah, empathy. Look, you're bringing up these examples of, a kid helping another kid. Okay, a kid seeing another kid in distress and doing something. Well, I mean, obviously, if you grow up with siblings, you know about that. I mean, you either fight or you're helping, But I mean, those are the two things you'll do. But yeah, again, it's completely reasonable that the genetics would want us to take care of our own. Who are you going to be likely to have around you as a young kid? Well, you're likely to have your own genetic material around you. That's where we were most of our evolution, with small tribes, small family groups. So it's your own genetics you're protecting. So of course you would protect your siblings. You share chromosomes with them. So the selfish gene is going to be in operation. So I just don't see that going anywhere. And you bring up Haiti and people's response. I wonder what people's response would have been if everybody had a niece or a nephew in Haiti. All right, so what can we speculate on how much more money would have been raised? 100 times more? 1,000 times more? 10,000 times more money would have been raised if we all had a relative over there? A relative we actually knew? Huh? Is that, can we speculate on that? So yeah, obviously it's more about people contriving an emotional response, and the fact that some people are smart enough to know that suffering exists in other people, and it's not about them having an emotional reaction, that it's about them understanding a circumstance and trying to do something to fix a circumstance, and they don't have to have a whole bunch of emotion pulling the money out of their pockets. But we know what really works. We know what will pull out more money, and that is emotion. So if you can create emotion, you'll create more human activity. And that emotion is usually going to be connected to things that are cute, okay, things that are connected, that do something for us emotionally. All right, the nepotism thing, the gang thing, the our team thing, the our group thing. It's going to be more motivating, and that's just a fact of our fucking reality. And I'm not saying it's impossible for us to do better than that. I'm just saying it's not in our nature. Damn it. Our nature is selfish. Our nature is glued to our kind, and we're not evolving a better nature. You can see it around the world. There's plenty of goddamn evidence of a lot of goddamn hate. Not a lot of goddamn love. Between people that have any differences whatsoever, they'll find a reason to hate each other. I mean, I'm in a big conflict with people over some kind of bullshit subject like fucking goddamn foreskin. And that's enough for people to start pulling out guns and shooting each other in the fucking head. So, I mean, it's just bullshit to talk about us evolving into something, or to argue that we have, through evolution, acquired some sort of graceful and dignified senses of something better than self-interest, because it isn't really there. The only thing that makes us at all civilized is our fucking intelligence, and without it we're a pretty lousy, rotten beast. So I hope that satisfies your need for answers to these questions. I mean, the kid brain thing is something you can go on forever and ever and ever. Just go through all these things and just say, well, look at this measured response, and there's no reaction, and there's not this, and, the babies turn on and off so easily. You make a scary face, it's a reaction. You make a happy face, it's a reaction. It's so reflexive, it's so simplistic, And like I said, they don't even. It takes real time before they're oriented in their environment. They can't function in it. So what good would it do them to be highly sensate? Because they can't do anything. They can't. They have to learn how to fucking walk. They have to learn how to get so they can get to a point where they can start experiencing the real world environment, where feeling would actually do them some good because they could actually learn through feeling. And they can't do much of that until they become physically competent. That's probably enough. Yeah, that's enough. So, I hope that satisfies your questions. And future videos, I'll go search on the internet, see if I can find some real hard science about brain function. But talking about these silly sciences of, let's observe, kids and say reptilian into a pregnant woman's belly and see if the baby is born reacting to the word reptilian. I mean, there's lots of dopey theories out there. Crazy, fucktarded nonsense.